Hi, thank you so much for joining me today. So I have with me the last of the Tom Ford quads that I purchased out of his new set of 5. So I had purchased the De La Creme and the Mink Mirage. Those reviews are already up if you're interested. And I also purchased Noir Fume, which was the one I was most looking forward to. So I have a more extensive review of that one today. I have several eye looks following this. So I wanted to try to see how light I could go with it and how dark. So I've got, kind of a range of different looks with that. So feel free to stay tuned, and I'll have timestamps down below in the description box so you can skip ahead to whatever interests you. So please take a look down there if you are interested in certain sections. All right, so let's start off with the actual quad. So we've got 2 mattes. The lightest one and the darkest one are both mattes. And then these 2 are more of a satin shade. So let's go ahead and swatch these. And I'm going to start off the lightest. So here's that. And you can see this is super, super pale ivory. It basically blends in with my skin. Even to me, like I can barely see it on my skin. It seems to be pretty accurate on the camera. Like when I fade it out, you can't even see it. It's really a nice base and kind of makes things nice for like blending, to kind of get that powder base down, but it's very, very light on me. It does not show up very much on me. All right, number 2, the one next to it here, is going to be this shade here. So it's a light, like a light shimmery brown, and there are like hints of gold and khaki green in it to me. More gold than green, but in the right lighting, when you shimmer it a little bit, you can see a little hint of that to me. So I feel like there is a little bit of that in the undertone. All right, and number 3 here, this one is a little bit deeper. So, and this one has more reddish undertones to it. And so it's basically, this is kind of like a cooler version, and this is like a warmer version, but they're both going to be kind of light browns. This one's a little bit closer to a medium, and it's kind of like a really, really, really light mahogany. So the last shade is the dark brown matte. And it almost looks black in certain spots. You can definitely see that there was some black pigment used in the creation of this, but it's really going to be like a deep brown. So these are the 4 shades. Again, you can barely see the ivory one here. And let's go ahead and take a look at these eye looks then. And I will be back with you for some final thoughts at the end. Thanks so much. Okay, thanks for joining me for this eye look. So we're just going to keep it light and kind of natural looking today. So this is the Noir Fume quad. This is number 29 from Tom Ford. And I'm going to call these 1, 2, 3, and 4. So we're going to start off with number 1. And I'm going to use the Sonia G Worker 3. And I'm just going to kind of go over my lid and socket area. So I'm going to actually take this all the way up to the eyebrow area, and I'm adding a little bit under the arch. So I'm not even sure if you guys can really see this. This color is very light. It's actually kind of blending in very well with my skin, but it is giving kind of like a nice base color for me to kind of like even out the tone of my eyelids. So it is kind of making it all kind of neutral and laying down like kind of a nice base. So I'm going to go in with the Builder Pro from Sonia G, and I'm going to use shade 2. And I'm going to put this basically all over the 2/3, the inner 2/3 of my eyes. I'm just dragging the excess into the crease area. Okay, so using that same brush, I'm going to go into shade number 3 and I'm going to do the outer third. So just getting a little bit on the brush here. All right, so the purpose of kind of going over 2 so far over and then 3 on top of that, for me, it kind of diffuses the colors. So you're getting a slight bit of dimension, but I'm not really using more of that V shape because that would be a little bit more emphatic, and I wanted to kind of keep it light and natural today. So these two blend together really well. And if I put 2 and 3 kind of like on top of each other, you know, I get a little bit less dimension than if I were to kind of try to emphasize the V. All right, so I'm just gonna go in and soften all of those edges. This is the Rougher 01, and I'm just gonna go ahead and blend, no shadow. Okay, so now I'm gonna go in, I'm gonna line my eyes with shade number 4. So this is the Builder 1 from Sonia G. And I'm just putting it on the tip. So to keep it like natural, I'm not going to add any additional shadow for the lower lashes. I'm just going to use whatever is on there. And this is a pretty pigmented color, so you can see that I got quite a bit still of shadow left on that brush. Okay, so I'm going to just finish this off by wiping any excess off of this brush, and then I'm going to go into shade number 1. Okay, so I'm just going to go into shade number 1, and I'm going to add some to the inner corner and kind of blend out the under eye a little bit. All right, so I'm just going to finish this off with some mascara, and that's going to be it for this eye look. Okay, so I'm back. I finished the look off with some mascara, and I was wearing the Tom Ford Luxe Gloss in number 6 Ravish, and I didn't take it off, but I did add some additional gloss in Smoked Glass. So I kind of have a mix of the two on my lips right now, and that's it. So just a quick summary of everything I have on. This is a light look with the Noir Fume Tom Ford Quad. I am wearing the Tom Ford Fiber Brow Gel in taupe. I have on the Surratt Dewdrop Foundation in 1.5. And I have the Tom Ford blush in, what's this one? Frantic Pink, number 1. The Chanel Metal Peach Holiday Highlighter, and the Chantecaille Eclat du Face Powder. The mascara I used was the By Terry Lash Expert Twist brush mascara. So I think that is everything. All right, so thanks for joining me for this look, and stay tuned for another. Thanks for joining me for another look. This is also going to be a nice light look for today. And before I begin, let me just tell you guys what I have on. So I am wearing the Surratt Dewdrop Foundation in 1.5. I have the Sisley Stila Lumiere under my eyes, and a very, very, very light dusting of the By Terry Hyaluronic Hydra Powder in Original, so the white one, under my eyes and over my face, but very, very light. For blush, I used the Patrick Ta She's Seductive, which is, you know, more of the plummy, mauve kind of color. And then, the lips, I have the Camellia Rouge in Camellia Rouge Métal, which is number 607. So this is the red metallic one. And then I put on a light dusting of the Givenchy Prisma Libra. This is the number 10 Sparkling Mousseline, which was from their holiday collection. Okay, so that's everything that I have on my face right now. We're going to start off, we're going to use just a very, very light look today. So since this is kind of more of a darker, more saturated palette, I wanted to kind of play with it to see how versatile it is to get light and dark looks. So we'll do a light look today. We will have, you know, a more smoked out look coming as well. All right, so I'm going to start off with the soft shader from Sonia G. And I'm going to start with this ivory shade. And I'm going to apply this to the inner 2/3 of my lid. All right, I'm going to save this brush because we will be going back to this color. And now I am taking the Refer 02. I'm going to go into color number 2, the one right next to that. Just going to get a little bit, and I'm kind of doing the middle and outer portions. All right, so now I'm actually going to go back in with the soft shader brush that I use for the ivory. I'm going to get some more ivory, and I'm going to tap it on the overlap there and kind of blend the crease area so it kind of mixes those two colors. And I want just a really light wash of color today. All right, so I'm just kind of blending these together. Okay, so now I'm going to go in. I'm going back in with that Refer 02, but I'm using the tip this time. I'm going to use number 3. And so I'm just tapping a little bit on the tip here. And I'm going to do the lower lash line with this. And it's going to be, you know, obviously this is a thicker brush. So I'm looking for it to be a little bit of a thicker line here. Okay, and I just feel like I need just a little bit more blending of the ivory and shade 2 and 3 a little bit. So I'm going to add a little bit more on the soft shader. I'm just going to kind of tap those edges again and just kind of sweep a little. All right. So now I'm just going to add a little bit of the ivory to the tip of that to put some in the inner corner specifically. All right, and that's it for the eyeshadow. So I kept it really nice, really neutral looking. I think it looks, you know, very classic. So for liner, I'm actually just going to use shade 3. And I'm going to use, this is the flat definer from Sonia G. I just want something that's kind of like flat there. So I'm just getting some on the tip here. And I'm just going to run it along the upper and lower lashes. So this is just, even though we used the number 3 kind of in a thicker line here, now that I'm using it here, it just kind of makes it slightly darker right there, so we kind of have like more of a gradient. Okay, so just gonna run it along my lower lash line as well. All right, so I'm just gonna finish this off with some mascara and I'll be right back. Thanks. Okay, so I'm back. This is the final look. So I added the Tom Ford Fiber Brow Gel and the By Terry Lash Expert Twist Brush Mascara. And that's it. So you can see this is a nice light look. It's, you know, kind of a matte, elegant look in my opinion. So I really like it. I think this quad so far is very versatile. And I'm looking forward to showing you guys something a little smokier next. All right, thanks so much. Have a great day. Okay, thanks for joining me for another look. So let me start off by telling you guys what I'm wearing. I have on the Surratt Dewdrop Foundation in shade 1.5 and the Sicily Stilo Lumiere in 1 under my eyes. And then for blush today, I used the Clé de Peau cream blush in shade number 4. And I used a blush brush to apply it. I actually used the Refer 19. I dabbed it in there and just kind of swirled. and blend it a little bit so it's pretty light wash. Then for a little bit of face powder, I used the Guerlain Meteorites in Golden Land. This is the holiday one, which is one of my favorites. So the only other thing I have on right now is the Sisley lip liner. What are these? These are the Vito Lavra Perfect or Perfect. So this is the lip liner in nude. So I put that on and kind of press my lips together. Just for a little something before I add some lipstick later. I'm not quite sure whether I want to go something bright or something nude, so I figured that would kind of cover all of my bases. All right, so we're going to go ahead and I'm actually going to start with kind of like a smokier look, and I'm going to start off by going into shade number 4 with the Sonia G Classic Crease Brush. So I'm going to add a little bit just kind of on the tip of the brush, and I'm going to add this down to the base. Make that a little darker. Okay, so there's that. I'm just wiping any excess off on a microfiber cloth, and I'm going to go in with the same brush, and I'm going to go into shade number 3 right next to that, and I'm going to do this just another line. Again, I'm putting it just on the tip. I'm going to go straight above this one. I'm not really worried about blending right now. I just want to kind of get the lines on there. Okay, again, I'm going to use the same brush after I wipe off the excess, and this time I'm going into shade number 2. And this one is going to go right above that, which means that it is mostly in this crease. Okay, again, wiping off the excess and going into the lightest shade now. And I'm just going to do that right above here and kind of blend out those edges from the second shade. Alright, so now I'm just going to go in and I want to go back into the shade number 4, the deepest shade, and just kind of darken that up again on the bottom. It seems to have blended away a bit. Alright, and I'm going to go back into shade number 3 and just kind of go over that spot again too and kind of make sure those edges are okay. Alright, so yeah, it looks kind of messy right now, so what I'm going to do is go in with just a clean crease brush. This is the Sonia G Blender Pro. And I'm just going to kind of clean up my edges, just kind of blend everything together. Okay, so for a little inner corner highlight, I'm going to go in, this is the Ref 03, this is one of the pencil brushes. I'm going into the ivory shade, the inner corner. And I'm going to get a little bit more on the tip and just go in this brow arch here. I still have to actually do my brows, but that's going to be the general area I want it. All right, so just give me a minute. I am going to add some liner and do some mascara. So I'll be right back. Okay, so I'm back. This is my final eye look. It is a bit messy. So on the upper lash line, I have on the This is a new liquid liner that I actually just opened this. This is Hank and Henry Stick With It in the shade Blickety Black. And when I was applying it, all of a sudden it just kind of stopped working. And then I ended up with like a huge glob that came out all at once. And so, you know, I was trying to clean it up. Everything kind of got a little smeared. Then my mascara, I used the By Terry Lash Expert Twist Mascara. It dried. And then I realized, I forgot to put eyeliner on the bottom lashes. So I added the Chantecaille eyeliner in Raven. And because of the mascara that I already had on the lower lashes, it kind of, you know, it didn't go on super smoothly because it got stuck on some of the spots with more mascara. So then I added the fourth shade from the quad with a smudger brush and kind of smooth that out a little bit. But overall, the eyeliner situation is a little bit messy. So in addition to my lips, I added the Lisa Eldridge Velvet Jazz. So that's this pretty shade right here. And that's all that I added. As for this look, I'm definitely going to be trying a smokier look again. And I've actually played with it a few times. This is my third time working on a smokier look. And I've tried a few different ways of doing it. Like I wanted to try it like vertical gradient and so forth. But I'm not sure how I like this one. I feel like the shadows look a little bit patchier over here. And I also feel like the darkest shade is kind of like, it goes on okay. And it stays where you put it originally. But then if you go to like kind of blend another shadow into it, it seems to be sort of like fading. And that one, you know, is the one that kind of disappears more. So I'm not really sure. So the other ones that I tried, I kind of didn't like them, took them off right away, so I didn't really wear them for a long period of time. So I'm not sure how well those wore. But I'll leave this one on for a while and see how that does. And I will definitely be trying another one as well. So thanks for joining me. I'll see you soon. Have a great day. Okay, so I'm back and we're going to try another dark look today. So first, what I have on my face, I'm wearing the Surratt Dewdrop Foundation in shade 1.5. I have on the Tom Ford Frantic Pink blush, the By Terry CC powder from the holiday collection. This is the Starlight Rose. Okay, and again, if you purchase this has a ton of overspray on it originally, so I removed all of that overspray. So now it's just like a subtle shimmer. And then on top, I have the Metal Peach holiday highlighter from Chanel. That's this one here. Okay, so that is everything that's on my face. And then on my lips, I'm wearing the Tom Ford, that one. I'm wearing the Tom Ford Lip Color Rouge à Lèvres, number 78 in Love Crime. So that is this shade here. All right, so let's get started. We're going to start off with we're going to get started with putting kind of like a light layer. I'm going to use the Sonia G Classic Crease, and I'm going to go into this shade number 1 here and just put like a light base down. So I'm going all over my eye. All right, so next we're actually going to go on and do more of like a vertical gradient here. So I'm going to go in with, this is the Rougher 13 brush. So it's kind of like a smaller crease brush. And I'm going to move into shade number 2 and put that on the inner third. The middle third is going to be this one. And then the outer third is going to be this. So I'm not just going to deepen the V. I'm going to try to kind of create more pigment there and then draw that over. And one of my purposes in this is to see if this ends up kind of patchy like it did to me yesterday. So just getting a little bit on the tip. So I'm going to continue with this brush into shade number 3. Okay, and just to make sure that there's no contamination, I'm going to switch brushes for the 4th shade. So I'm using the Sunji Pencil 2, and I'm going to add this to the outer third. Alright, so now I have the color applied. Let's go ahead and start blending. I'm going to use the Crease 2 brush from Sunji and no shadow. And I'm just going to go into the crease area here. Alright, so I feel like there's still some patchiness over here. So I'm going to go into shade number 4 again. Try to add that. I'm using more of a stippling motion to kind of get that darker. And I'm just going to blend the edges again with the crease brush. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and just add a little bit of an underbrow highlight. Let's see here. I'm using, this is the Wayne Goss 06, and I'm going in just on the tip into shade number 1. Alright, so let me just finish this up with some mascara and I'll be right back. Thanks. Okay, so I'm back. I just added some mascara and some eyeliner. I added the Chantecaille Luster Glide Silk in Violet Damask. So I added that and that's it. So this is the final look. I still feel like this a dark color just doesn't blend as well as the other 3. It is kind of patchy, and I don't know, I mean, you can kind of see here, it just doesn't blend as smoothly as the others. So, you know, I didn't really test out the darker shades in Big Mirage to see how patchy that was. So I'm going to go ahead and test that. Actually, let's just apply that on top right now and just see how it does, because that one is a nice black, and when I used it, it was very kind of smooth and everything, but I really only used it as liner. So we're going to test that now. Let me get a clean brush. This is the Rougher number 12, and I'm going to dab it into shade 4 of Mink Mirage. And again, this is just a nice black. And honestly, I'm not worried about how it looks right now. I just want to see if it gets patchy or not. So I'm just going to apply this on top. And let me wipe off this excess here. I'm just going to test how it blends with shade number 3. So I'm using the same brush here. So you can see where those edges here have hit. They seem to have blended fairly well. I'm going to go in with the black again and just double check. Alright, so let's try this on the other eye too and just see how this blends. And I think when I kind of blend those in the middle there, I'm getting a little bit more of a smoother gradient. Yeah, I think the black color from Mink Mirage is definitely more pigmented and a little bit better. Sorry, my children are watching, so sorry for the heads. But anyway, the black pigment is definitely going to be a bit of a smoother, more blendable pigment. And yeah, I think the one in Noir Fume is just kind of patchy. So I will be back with my final thoughts in a little bit. Thanks so much. So this will be the last look. And I am going to start off with the Sonia G Pencil 1. And I'm going into shade number 4. And I am going to put a thick line above my upper lashes. So I started in the middle, so I had the most pigment kind of in the middle going out, and then less pigment going towards the inner portion of my eye since it is a smaller area and I don't want it to look smaller by having too much dark shadow right there. Okay, so I am now going to take the Sonia G Builder Pro and I'm going into shade 3. And I'm just going to get a little bit here and I'm going to go right above this. Okay, and wiping the excess off of that brush, I'm going to go into shade 2 with the same brush and go right above that. So now I am going to just take a fluffy crease brush. This is the Rougher 16. I'm going to kind of blend these edges. And there's no shadow here. Alright, so it looks like I don't have any harsh edges or anything on the actual shadow. But I'm going to add just a little bit more of shade 3 to this eye right on the pencil line. Alright, now I have to even it up a little. Okay, I think that looks better. Okay, and then for the last part, this is the Sonia G Crease 1. I'm using it just because it has a pointed tip, so anything with a little bit more of a pointed tip. I'm going in with the first shade into the inner corner, and I'm going to kind of spread that a little bit into a triangular shape. So I'm kind of doing a V here with this white shade. Okay, and then I'm just going to add a little bit here. And I'm going to take that blender brush again and just kind of blend that in. Okay, and I'm going to line my lower lash line with shade number 2, actually. Let's go in with 2. This is the Flat Definer from Sonia G. So I'm just using the tip. Okay, and I'm just gonna finish this off with some mascara and something on my lips, and I will be right back. Thanks. Okay, so I am back, and before I forget, let me tell you everything that I had on my face before I did the eye look. So today I am wearing the Clay to Peau. This is the Radiant Cream to Powder Foundation in number I-10. So it's one of these. So I apply this with a brush. I don't like to use the pad. I just feel like it gets too much product on. And then I have on the Chantecaille Chic Gelée in Vibrant for my blush today. I used the Guerlain Meteorites in Golden Land and the Tom Ford Fabric Brow Gel in Taupe. This is Lucila Lumiere under my eyes in shade number 1. Then you saw me apply the eyeshadow. That was the Noir Fume Quad from Tom Ford. And I was about to say Tom McGrath. But anyway, lips, I have on the Guerlain number 95. This was one of the ones that came out for the holiday. I believe the color, though, is not a limited edition color. I can't remember. The case is, but I think the actual lipstick shade is not. And mascara, I used the Carmen D Beauty I Got You mascara. So, that's everything I have on. And thanks for joining me. So I'm back with some final thoughts, and I'm going to give my final thoughts for all three of the palettes. So De La Creme, Mink Mirage, I've talked about them separately. Please feel free to go to those videos and look at a more in-depth review of each of those. I like both of those palettes. De La Creme is a bit warmer toned. Here, let me pull that out. So this is De La Creme. It's kind of like more like warm brown neutrals. And, you know, I like it. They blend well, and it's just a nice, light, everyday look. That's a nice quad. I'm glad I purchased that one. All right, and then the Mink Mirage. I didn't think I'd like this one as much as I did. I mean, I knew I'd like it because I was really interested in the color stories, and I was looking forward to getting something with all mattes. But I think this one actually ended up being my favorite of the three that I purchased. I thought for sure Noir Fume would be, but I think Mink Mirage, I like just a tad more. And the reason for that, I'll talk about in just a minute. And then Noir Fume was the last one. And yes, so let's start off with a review for this one. So I like this quad. I really like the color story. I just have one issue with this dark brown. It works well as a liner. It does not work well for me whenever I try to mix it into shadow. It either blends away or gets kind of a patchy look. So if you go and look at either of the looks I did where I tried to use them more, you know, in a deeper application for more of a smoky eye, you can see that I ended up with patchiness in both cases. I've used this several times that were not recorded as well, and I just can't seem to figure out a way to not get the patchiness. So I've tried applying it first. I've tried using like a base or a primer, but I just feel like it always just isn't quite a smooth blend with this last color. These other three, though, I really like. So the light one, even though you can barely see it on my skin, I like using it as a base. I think it mixes well with the others, and it can kind of tone down anything. So I really like this. And I really love these two shades, the two satin shades. I was really looking forward to those because those are particularly number 2 here. This is a shade that, you know, I'm particularly drawn to, and I loved both of these. So I really, really love these, and this would be my favorite quad if it weren't for this brown. But the brown led me to try the Mink Mirage in a deeper application, and I have like an attempt recorded as part of one of the eye looks, but I have tried it on its own since then, and this one does not give me any patchiness. This is a smooth blend, and it's black instead of deep brown, so you know, it's gonna be a darker look, but this one surprisingly blends really well. I expect it. It's usually like the black pigments that are used in makeup or, you know, any dyed things. They're a little bit of a drier pigment, and they're harder to get, you know, kind of like a smooth application without patchiness. And that's pretty typical of black shadows in my experience. This one blended really nicely, and I'm actually surprised that the black blended better than the dark brown in the Noir Fume. So for that reason, this one has become my favorite out of these quads. And I mean, these shades are slightly warmer than my typical preference, but I really liked them. And surprisingly, I tried a smoky eye look using, you know, the black and primarily number 3 here. And I really like the juxtaposition of these two shades together. So I really like this one. They all blend really well. They're mattes. You can go light, you can go dark with this. And all 3 of these quads are very work appropriate. They can be very understated, or you can kind of amp it up a little bit. The De La Creme, obviously not as much. Those colors are much more similar in tone to each other. But, you know, you can get a deeper or a lighter look with this. So again, this is the De La Creme. So I think overall, if you are looking for some neutral eyeshadows, these are nice quads. I like them. Are they worth $88? I think that is a personal preference. I personally was in need of some new neutrals. I really wanted some nice quads that I didn't have to look around in my other stuff for, you know, neutrals that particularly I wanted some more mattes. Because I have a lot of shimmer shades, 'cause I really like those. But yeah, so for me, they're a good investment. If you already have a bunch of neutrals, they may not be, but I do feel like these are very nice shadows. I'm not sure about the other two I didn't review. They didn't really interest me, so I did not purchase them. But overall, I am happy with these, and you know, I had no issues with the formula aside from that one deep brown in the Noir Fume. So in order of preference for me, my personal preference is the Mink Mirage, followed by the Noir Fume, and then the De La Creme. And although the De La Creme, all four of those shades blended very beautifully, the colors in the Noir Fume, they're really, you know, I really love those two satin shades, you know, probably the most. I really gravitate towards those a lot. So that's why that kind of bumped over De La Creme. So overall, those are my opinions on these Tom Ford quads. And he does have some eye, cheek, face palettes or something like that coming out soon. I'm not sure exactly when. I'd say within the next month or two. And I think there might be 8 of them coming out. So be tuned. I'm not sure if I'm going to buy many of those or not. I'll have to see them. But I typically don't like the all-in-ones. I kind of like to keep my eyeshadows in one thing, my blushes in another, and so forth. So, you know, I'm not sure. If you guys have seen those and you have any opinions or anything on any of those, please let me know down below. And that's it. So if you have any questions, comments, or suggestions, please leave them down below. If there's anything I can clarify about these 3 quads, please let me know. And if you like this video, give me a thumbs up, subscribe if you haven't already, and I hope to see you in my next video. Thanks so much and have a great day.